what I want to do is to start showing you a different way of putting down your ideas compared to what I wrote about in my blog, Happy New Year, Setting the Scene, because I set that out in a list format. Now that's going to suit some people, but not, but everybody works in different ways. And personally, a list I can find a little bit restrictive sometimes, and so I use quite often a mind mapping exercise. And this allows me to be a little bit more creative. I can sort of plan things out, add things to it very, very easily. And also it gives me the opportunity to use more colour and pictures. And that isn't just to satisfy my needs as a colour orientated person. There is strong scientific facts stating that using colour and pictures helps you remember more effectively. And that's because you're using the whole of your brain. So what we're going to work on then this session is the goal that I set out in my blog, Happy New Year. And that was about a young lady called Michelle who wants to lose a bit of weight. And she has decided that she wants to be 10 stone on the 1st of May 2015. So we'll get started. Okay, so I've got a large sheet of paper here. I've just sellotaped a couple of A3 sheets together. Often I've used wallpaper, and that'll give you, a bigger expanse than you want. But you can always add to it if you find that you feel restricted by the edge here. And in the centre of the page I've got the goal for Michelle, which is I will be 10 stone on the 1st of May 2015, and also a picture. Now ideally Michelle would find a picture of her at the weight that she wants to be from past images, but if she can't find that, then a picture out of a magazine, the sort of image or look that she wants to be is absolutely ideal. And so that's what I've got there. Now it could go in the centre of the page, but it's quite a large picture, so I thought I'd put it on the edge so that it wouldn't get in the way. And so what we're going to do is just start plotting all the different ideas around how Michelle might lose the weight that she wants to, for the 1st of May, to be 10 stone. And at this stage, it's important not to be confined about what she thinks will or won't work. It's just about putting the ideas down and then later on looking at the best options for her. Okay, so what we're going to do then is we're going to start off with diet. Okay, now this is going to come in various different aspects. Michelle might struggle with her culinary limitations. It might be around portion control or her lack of understanding around a good diet. And this is going to depend a lot on her work, her family, and those sorts of things. So we're going to do quite a generic look at this sort of thing at the moment. Okay, so food groups. Okay, and portion control. It's always a good thing to look at because, for many of us, we tend to, put too much food on our plates. Around learning to cook. Or it might not be around learning to cook, but learning to cook perhaps different things. It might be around experimentation with different foods. Because, for the majority of us, we tend to eat the same things. Meal regime. We're going to be looking at weight control groups, research, It may be that she needs a bit of support from the doctor or a dietitian. Okay, so when we start looking at some of these different areas, what else can there be around some of these different things? So portion control, perhaps it's about reducing it. Okay, perhaps it's about learning about what is a portion. Because a lot of people don't know what a portion of the different foods are. The learning to cook. Okay, it might be about joining a class. It might be cookbook. It might be around asking other people, asking friends. Okay. Weight control group. There's all sorts of different groups going on. If you're a member of the gym, there might be something at the gym. Okay, we've got the ones that seem to be in most areas, the Slimming World, Weight Watchers, okay, research. Okay, where can she find information that she needs? So, library, TV, lots of programmes around food, internet, and you can already see that I'm using up my space quite nicely here. Reading around, okay, magazines, lots of magazines. Okay, and I forgot to colour this in, which is really important here so that you remember, so I'll do that now. Okay, now experimentation. Alright, I said that a lot of us tend to eat the same things, and so it's about, what does she want to experiment with? When is she going to find the time to do it? How is she going to do it? And where? Okay, so this links in with the learning to cook. It links in with, asking friends and relatives. Okay, and then meal regime. This is really important because people are, a lot of people are now working part-time or working shifts, and so meal times can be a very hit and miss affair. If you've got a pressurised job, it might be that you're not eating at a regular time. If you have a lot of meetings, a lot of companies now are doing meetings, breakfast meetings, lunchtime meetings, after work meetings, and it does interfere with what you're doing. Okay, so it's about looking at her eating times, regularity. Okay, that's really, really important, and what you eat. Okay, so, and also the meal regime is where you're going to eat. A lot of people, don't spend a bit of time in the morning or the night before making up a packed lunch, which means then you're always having to look for somewhere to go and pick up some food. And if you have got, meetings at lunchtime, or you've got high pressure deadlines, it can be quite difficult to find the right place to go and find the food, the good food to eat, the food that's going to help her with her diet. And so it's really important about, being prepared, going out with a packed lunch, because then you can pick and choose what you want to take with you to fulfill your dietary needs and link in with losing the weight. So, the doctor. Yeah, when? When is she going to go and see the doctor? Okay, and it's about booking an appointment. Alright, And you know, the next step would be when, you know, start to organise these different things. Okay, so next we're going to move on to fitness. Oops, dropping the pen there. Have fitness regime. And I'll remember to colour this in at the beginning. Okay, so this is starting to think about what's she doing at the moment, what would she like to do, the different activities she's enjoyed doing in the past, what she, you know, perhaps something new that she hasn't done before, things that she perhaps thought about doing but never really took it upon herself to do it or to set it up. Okay, so where could she go and get the fitness? Well, gym. Okay then. Fitness, regular fitness is important. The sort of fitness. And regime. Because it's important to have a regime, because we all know that if we want to sustain something in our lives, it has to become part of our life, doesn't it? It has to be a lifestyle change. Just like diets, the fad diets don't work, it's a lifestyle change. What you put in place now, you need to keep going for the rest of your life so that you can maintain a steady weight that you're happy with. Okay, so if we look at, you know, the regularity, how much? When? So it's about fitting it in, isn't it? Okay, so the gym. So it's about looking at the different gyms. Perhaps look at the leisure centre. Yeah, because we all know that gyms can get very costly, especially if you start doing classes that you have to pay extra for as well. So it's about costs, isn't it? Opening times. It's about what sort of classes are there. So the facilities. Do they have the facilities that she wants? There's a lot of gyms that are a lot cheaper, but they don't have a pool. And it might be that she likes going swimming or wants to learn how to swim, for example. Okay, and so that's going to take, you know, disregard some of the different gyms. But it's also about the sort of clientele that are going there. And, you know, the cost is going to link up with the sort of clientele that are going to be there. But as well, what Michelle might want to think about is if she is, you know, a little bit self-conscious about her weight or not, or if she doesn't feel comfortable around men, it may be that she needs to look for a women's only gym. All right. And also perhaps a personal trainer. A personal trainer, it can get expensive. However, you know, you can get very good results very quickly, and so it's about weighing up those costs. And some personal trainers will actually come to your home, which might mean if it's, you know, if you've got difficulty getting to a gym, perhaps you live in the country or you don't drive or there isn't a, you know, it isn't in walking distance, that can cause a bit of a problem. So looking at personal trainers is also a good way. So the sort of fitness that Michelle might be interested in. So this is about writing down all the different things you might like to do. So there's running. And of course we all know with running you don't have to go to the gym to run. And the same with walking. Okay, swimming. Other things, horse riding, cycling. That's a big sport at the moment. Golf is also very big. And some of these things you don't need the gym or the leisure centre for, but there might be something that, you know, she's perhaps thought about at the back of the mind, didn't have the courage to go and do, but is now spurred on to try something different, maybe kickboxing, for example. Some of these things, you know, are very cheap to do, such as running, but is that going to coincide with her health? Swimming, exceptionally good for all different ages, all different abilities. So it's just thinking around those different sorts of things. But also other things are very good for you, such as yoga. Yoga, Pilates, Tai Chi, which are excellent for, you know, extra fitness areas. Also, then looking at the regime. Okay, we've put when down there, but it's still important to think about it. So is it going to be AM, so early? Is it going to be after work? Is it going to be lunchtime? Weekends? Is she going to go and do it on her way home? Or later after she's got home? Okay, and this is why it's really important to start thinking about how it fits in with your family life, because it's great saying I'm going to go to the gym 5 days a week and nothing's going to get in my way, but you have to fit it in, and it's about maintaining the regime, like I said earlier, because going 5 times a week works for the first few weeks, but then after a little while, you know, doing the extra exercise can get very, very tiring, and then it becomes very stressful. And what we don't want is for Michelle to get really stressed about trying to maintain this goal, and then she gives up altogether. So this is why it's really important to look at all the different areas, okay? And to help Michelle meet that aim, it's also about her support network, okay? Having the right kinds of support is vital, all right? Because we all know people who, you know, we go with the best intentions to get a little bit of support from somebody, and they can put a really negative slant on things for you, and they go, well, that's a great idea, but it's going to cost you loads of money, it's going to be hard work, how are you going to fit this in around work and the kids and what your husband wants to do, and you know, I don't think it's going to work, I think you're going to find it really quite difficult. Well, that sort of person is not going to be of assistance for you. The sort of person that you're looking for is someone who's going to say, you know what, I think that's a fabulous idea. Yes, it's going to cost you a bit of money. Yes, you're going to have to rejig things, but you're going to feel fantastic when you've met your goal. And those are the sorts of people you're looking for in your support network. Okay, so where is Michelle's support network? It might be with friends, family, work colleagues. It might be neighbours. You might have a neighbour that, you know, when you get talking to them, go, you know what, I want to get a little bit fitter, so, you know, I'll come to the gym with you, or, you know, I wanted to learn to cook and I think that's great, so I'll come with you to do a cooking class. It might come in the way of classes, different sorts of classes, or, you know, we talked about the doctor earlier, didn't we? Weight groups, personal trainer, gym staff, or just other people that you meet in your daily life and you start chatting with. And, you know, for me, sometimes the support has come in the most strangest places, the most unexpected places, which can really turn everything around for you. So we've looked at diet and fitness for Michelle, we've looked at the support network, which is really, really important, but the other thing that we do need to look at, and not many people like to look at this, but it is important, is barriers. And the reason why looking at your barriers is so important is because it's about thinking ahead. Alright, thinking ahead of what might stop Michelle meeting that goal. And this is rather like when you're walking down the road, you don't walk along with your head down, only looking one pace ahead of you. You need to look with your head up, look around, see what's coming up, so you can, walk around it, plan your next move, plan your route. And if you haven't done it personally, we've seen other people do it, and I've done it myself, is that I've been so caught up in what's going on through my head, I haven't looked where I'm going, and bang, I've suddenly walked into a lamppost with huge embarrassment, bump on your head, and created a good laugh for a lot of people around you. So it's important to look at your barriers, okay? So these barriers might come in all sorts of different ways, and it might come in past experiences. Okay. Past experiences might be that Michelle's tried to lose weight or get fit before and it hasn't worked, and so that might stop her from reaching that aim again, which is linked in with self-belief. Okay, at the back of her mind she might think, well, I don't believe I can do it, and so that is going to stop her reaching that goal. Okay, self-worth, another one. Okay, again in the back of your mind, past experiences, perhaps things that people have said in the past have made her doubt her ability to reach her goal. Money. It's going to cost a bit of money to do, go to the gym, perhaps get the trainers or get the bike, the riding lessons, those sorts of things. Education. So it's around, her knowledge of all of these different things. Why is fitness important? Why is good diet important? Lifestyle. Okay, it might be to do with, habits that she's got that she finds difficult to break. So, being a chocoholic, for example, can, affect the lifestyle. It might be to do with working timetable, shift patterns, high pressure jobs, food preferences. It might be to do with allergies. Yeah, more and more people are finding that they've got allergies. And then, there might be lots of other different things. A support network, for example. Which might link up with the past experiences, not having the right support network. Yeah, people saying that, she won't manage it, for example. So, that sort of concludes the mind map for the moment. You might not do all this at the same, in one sitting. It takes time to think things through. And you might start doing this and then go off and, perhaps, you're taking the dog for a walk, or you're doing the ironing, or you're out on the golf course, pounding up and down the swimming pool doing the swimming, and then think of new things. Perhaps when you're just drifting off to sleep, that's often a time when ideas come to your mind. But when you get those ideas, it's coming back to this and just adding some more things on. Okay then. Okay, so I hope you found that useful, and Michelle is now well on the way to starting to work towards her goal about being 10 stone on the 1st of May 2015. But it's really important to remember to be patient with yourself. Okay, reaching your goals takes time, it takes practice, it takes persistence, it takes planning, it takes enthusiasm, and it's really important to remember that you're going to have blips. It's not all going to run smoothly, but it's about remembering who your support network is, getting yourself up, having another go, not being too hard on yourself, and learning from the relapses. Alright, relapses are quite normal, it happens to everybody, but it's about how we get up, how we carry on and keep moving to what we really want in our life. But also it's important to remember that each and one of us are individual people. We're going to react differently to different things. We've got different lives, we've got different lifestyles, we've got different ways of dealing with pressures, and so it's really important to work out the best for you, not how other people do it. You can listen to their experiences and take on board what they're saying and picking and choosing what are useful for you, but it's about you and how you're going to reach that.